Hey there everybody, welcome back to the 4-String Strum of the channel. It's all about ukuleles. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at how to get the ultimate Irish sound out of a banjo ukulele. Alright, let's dive into it. All right, so those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I play, particularly in the banjo ukulele, a sort of a distinctive style, right? With some different sort of styles of strumming, etc., to match the type of music that we're doing, right? So when I'm playing bluegrass, for instance, or really for any of the plaidman style, the goal here is to get as much out of the instrument as we can, right? So we want to get rhythm, we want to get melody, and we want to be able to sing at the same time, right? Because again, I play on my own most of the time, and I know a lot of you folks do out there as well. So how do we do that, right? So we think about what is the style that we're playing. We're going to get into the Irish stuff in a second here, but just to give you an example, when I play bluegrass, high G, it gives you that nice high G ringing sound in the background. That's kind of that drone string. And from that, we can sing over top of that. You can hear what the melody is there of Rocky Top as I'm playing it, okay? So what we want to be able to do now is to take that same sort of a concept and put that into Irish music. So let's take a look at how we can go about that now. All right, so for Irish music, to me, banjo ukulele is a fantastic instrument to go with, right? It's got that a little bit louder sort of a sound than a standard ukulele. It's got that twangy sort of a banjo-y sound. But the difference is when you look at a banjo ukulele versus a tenor ukulele that they use traditionally in Irish music, obviously is the scale length, they use steel strings, etc. But stylistically, the tenor banjo is played more for melody lines, all right? So it would be kind of like this. Okay, that kind of a thing. So there's not a lot of rhythm playing going on. Rhythm is generally left up to maybe a guitar, piano, depending on who's at the session, right? So for us, for our style, for plaidman style, we want to be able to play, again, our own rhythm, we want to be able to play our own melody, and we want to be able to sing over top of it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be playing with a pick, because that will give us that sort of a punchy feel, that extra proud kind of a sound that you get from the Irish banjo. But we're going to change it up a little bit because we're going to be playing chords and we're going to be strumming those as well. All right, so let me show you how we can now morph our plaidman into an Irish style. Let's talk first about the pick. So picks, you can use pretty much anything you want. This particular one is a 0.73, so the thickness matters. If you get one that's less than 0.5 millimeters thick, it's going to sound kind of slappy, particularly on the nylon or fluorocarbon strings. So you might want to go with one that's a little bit thicker, maybe somewhere between 0.5 and 0.75, something like that. But any kind of a plastic pick really will do the job, right? Hey, look, I've even got Irish flag ones here, all the way from Ireland. So yeah, and the way that I hold the pick is a little bit unconventional. So if you're already used to playing with a pick and you hold it in a more traditional way, kind of like that, then that's fine. Most people kind of hold the pick in between their thumb and their forefinger like that. I'll show you the way that I do it. I hold it between my thumb and my two fingers. So I have one finger on each corner like that, and then on the back I have my thumb kind of in the middle. And the reason that I do that is I find it gives me a little bit better control. I don't know. I know there's going to be guitar experts out there that are going to say, oh, that's not the right way to do it. They're probably right, but it's worked for me for over 50 years, so what the hell. That's the way I do it. Now, the nice thing with this pick actually is that it actually has little don't know if you can see it or not, but there's like little anti-skid dots on it. So it's easy to hang on to, it doesn't slip out of your fingers. All right, so let's take a look first of all at some strumming, and we'll look at the chords that we're going to use. So this song is called The Banks of the Roses, and it goes like this. By the banks, starts and say, of the roses, G7, my love, and I did lie, back to C, up to F, and I took out me C, fiddle, 4 to G7, me love a tune C, and in the F, middle of the C tune, she smiled G7, and she said C, lovely Johnny, darling Johnny, would you G7 leave me back to C? So it's just the 3 chords, C, F, G7. For the strumming, we're just going to use sort of a back and forth kind of a thing. Just up and down, nice and simple. Just like that. By the banks of the roses, my love and I did lie, and I took out my fiddle for to play me the tune, and in the middle of the tune, oh, she sighed and she said, darling Johnny, lovely Johnny, don't you leave me. All right, nice and simple. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of embellishments that you can do here. A couple little things you can do with your strumming, and then like we always do, we're just going to step it up to make it a little bit more advanced as we go along. All right, so let's look at some extra strumming techniques that we can use first, and then we'll get into some embellishments. All right, here we go. So for the strumming, again, we just did that back and forth, up and down. Now if you want to skip an up every once in a while, that's okay, right? And it'll break up the sound. So just listen, you'll see what I mean. So it's up to you, wherever you want to skip that up, it doesn't really matter, but you can hear how now it kind of breaks it up and it gives a little bit different accent throughout. The beautiful thing about playing with a pick, and I know this is really unconventional to play a banjo, ukulele, or any kind of ukulele with a pick, but the nice thing is that you don't have to coordinate your thumb and your fingers. Okay, so it's just one pick right in the middle there, and you just work your wrist back and forth. Now, don't get too carried away doing this. Remember the Archie's cartoons when we were kids, right? And they always played their guitars like that. Drove me crazy. Don't be like Archie. Just play it with your wrist like that. See how it just is like a rotation. And just skip the up every once in a while. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is the angle of your pick. So you want to think about it almost like a paintbrush, kind of the way I think about it, all right? So you kind of go with it this way. You brush the strings. Okay, you don't want to have it kind of getting underneath and hooking the strings. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it depends on how much up and down you put on that pick, the angle that you use, as to how loud it's going to be, okay, and how in your face that sound is. So let's have a little listen here, and I'll show you what I mean. If I tighten up on my pick a little bit, and I don't allow it to trail as much, it's going to get louder. Okay, that's more tight, okay, more straight up and down. Now if I let it trail, okay, I haven't changed anything with my wrist. The only thing I've done is I've changed a little bit the grip and a little bit the angle. So you can really hear the difference that makes, right? Now when you're coming back up, you want to be able to, again, get the brush going this way. So you can see my wrist, how it kind of rotates a little. You're getting a little bit of this action, right? Okay, and that's going to help you to get the sound that you want. One isn't better than the other, whether it's sort of that boink, really in your face kind of a sound, or the more of a trailing kind of a pick angle. Okay, there's going to be times when we're going to be using both here. All right, so play around with that a little bit. Just like that. And you can play around with where you play. Hear how it's warmer up here? Hear how it gets different as you get down to the bridge? All right. Kind of experiment with that a little bit, and then I will show you how we can start to add a few hammer-on embellishments here to get a little bit more oomph out of the sound. All right, here we go with that. All right, that's what we're shooting for. All right, so we're just gonna start off with a nice basic back and forth kind of a strum here. And we're just gonna add in a few little hammer-ons to get that melody to start peeking its head out a little bit here. So our favorite spots, what I call my favorite spots for hammer-ons when we're playing in C, are here at the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So you just use your 2nd finger there. Up here at the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. And you can use that with your 1st finger, or if you're playing a G7, your 2nd finger here, you're just basically lifting it and dropping it. And when we're playing an F, there's going to be the odd time where you're going to be dropping your 3rd finger here at the 3rd fret on the 1st string. All right, so let's just kind of strum this through, and you'll start to hear that melody coming out. All right, here we go. So when we strum, again, just nice back and forth. By the banks of the roses, my love and I sat down. Again. All right, so we're going to drop our 1st finger here on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret when we say the roses. By the banks of the roses, my love. Just try it like that. By the banks of the roses, my love, I sat down. All right, now we're going to go up to the F. And I took out my fiddle back to C. Now, when you go to the C, you can drop your 2nd finger there if you want to. I took out my fiddle for to play me love. And then when you go to G7, you just lift your finger. And you slide it back up to the C. And in the middle of the tune, C, and you can drop your 2nd finger. She sighed and she... So it's just, you can start to see the pattern, right? You just keep lifting and dropping here. And she said, darling Johnny, lovely Johnny. You go from C up to G7. Would you leave back to C? All right, I'll play it all the way through in this nice sort of simple style now. Here we go. Okay, so if you're just starting out, that's a great way to go. Now, the other thing is with this, as you're singing, you can use these little embellishments in the background if you're a little bit more advanced, and it'll start to peak that melody out without overdoing it too much. Okay, you don't want your voice and your instrument to compete for the spotlight, kind of a thing. Okay, so when you're singing, when I'm singing, I generally sing and I keep it fairly simple on the instrument. When I stop singing, that's when I start to do a little bit more on the instrument. So let's take a look now at what we can do when we stop singing and do a little bit more on the instrument. All right, here we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at getting a little bit more of the melody coming out and a little bit less of the rhythm, okay? And again, so I sort of look at it in terms of a mix, a percentage kind of a thing. So when I'm singing, it's more rhythm that I'm playing, so maybe like 80 and 20, like we just did with that little bit of hammer-ons happening. And then when I stop singing, it becomes maybe more of a kind of a 50-50 rhythm versus the melody. All right, so let me just show you this. So you can hear a lot more melody there. Again, less of the rhythm. So, but this takes a bit more, not bit more, a fair amount more precision with your pick and making sure that you're landing on the right note. Okay? So, and beyond the precision that it takes with the pick, in terms of where you land, you'll also want to start to get a bit of a feel for how stiff you want that to be. All right? How much trailing you want to have happening. All right? Because when you want that real sort of an Irish banjo sound, you want to get that kind of punchy sort of a sound, right? And I'm holding the pick a lot more straight up and down than I am with a trailing angle when I'm doing that, okay? So, let's get into the individual notes here. Here we go. All right, again, so we're going to make sure that we got our pick here in our finger, however you want to hold it. And not a lot of trailing angle here. We want a fairly up and down kind of a pick. And we're going to strum down. I'm going to do this sort of in phrases. So we're going to do it kind of like we'll do this part, and we'll add this part, and we'll add that part kind of a thing. All right, so and the idea here is to get it one part at a time and to get the sound into your ear. All right, so don't be too concerned about writing it all down or do you have tabs for this or whatever? Because that's not the way I do it. I do it by sound, right? I do it all by ear. So you want to get that burn in. So here's the first sound segment, the first phrase that we're going to work on. We're going to strum down from the top. Again, whether you're using a high G, low G, doesn't really matter. And we're going to stop at that second string, and we're going to hammer on, same way we did in the more simplified version. All right, so here we go. So you're going to strum down, you're going to hit that hammer on, like that. And then you're going to go up to that third string, open, and you're going to hit that third string at the second fret, and then you're going to go to that second string, open. Now, you can see, sometimes I'll go, you can double it up if you want to, or you can just let one note hang, like when you hit it once, you can let it hang if you want. If you want, it's up to yourself, okay? But get that deedle-dee, deedle-dee-dee into your ear. All right, let's try it again. Good. Okay, so the next part, the next phrase we're going to do is going to start from there. Then we're going to go back up to the third string here as we're playing our G7, okay? So it's the same as when we did the more simplified version. We're basically just doing a hammer on here. All we're doing is we're kind of isolating it here. Okay, again. And you go right, I picked up my fiddle. So you want to emphasize that first string at the third fret. I picked up a fiddle. So what we're doing is we're playing that F, and we're getting that first string, lift it, drop it, then you go right to the C, so you can leave your third finger there. Again. Second string. And in the, so you drop your second finger here, and you emphasize that second note. Back to your F, and then you're going to strum through and get that first string. Lift your third finger rather off the first string, and drop it again. So you can see I kind of strum through it to get to that first string. Then I pick it. See? So now I strum down to that second string, and I really emphasize that. And I drop it and I lift it and I stay on that second string. Now we go up to our G7 again. So you can hear it's there at the third string. She smiled and she... Then you go up to the C. And it's that open second string again. Same thing we did last time through. Now this is where it gets a little bit different. This last little phrase. Okay, so you're going to start off here at the third string. So you go third string open, third string second fret, second string open, third string open. Have it listen to it again. Then we're going to go up to the first string at the third fret. Again, from the beginning. Then we go to the second string at the third fret. Again. First string open. Then back to the second string at the third fret. Second string open, third string open, G7, back to your C. All right, now I'm going to play it all the way through for you. All right, so you can hear the difference, right? When I'm really focusing on those individual notes and I'm really digging into it. Now, again, you're going to want to balance that depending on if you're playing on your own, if you're singing at the time, whatever, in order to get the desired sound. Okay, so if you're playing with somebody else and they're carrying the weight of the rhythm, you can dig right in. If you want, though, you can also do kind of a halfway point. Let me just play it through for you and you can contrast it against what I just did there. So you can hear a little bit more strumming there. And usually what I do is in that last little phrase, I usually just pick that because to me it sounds really nice at the end of the verse, just to make it stand out a little bit more. All right, so however you want to do it, knock yourselves out. So whichever banjo ukulele or whatever ukulele, this will work on a standard ukulele as well. You want to use, you'll notice here today I got two different ones. One's a high G, one's a low G. It really doesn't matter which way. I've been playing the low G on this one just for a little bit more of a bassier kind of a sound, but it'll work fine on a high G as well. These instruments are the Duke. This is the Duke 10 version 3. You folks that have been on my channel before have seen these. But if you're new here, these are fabulous. Great big 10-inch pot on it, and you've got 2 pickups built into it. Beautiful. And these are great for this kind of music. All right, nice armrest here, so they're very comfortable to play. And we just got a big shipment of these in, so these will start shipping again early next week. We've got some pre-orders to get through for sure. Our biggest problem right now isn't selling these. It's just keeping them in stock because they just keep going out the door. I'm going to put a link down in the description for you that you can check out if you want to get one of your own. These are fantastic instruments. Again, they come with the customized case specifically for this instrument too. Hard shell, tweed finish on them, real nice vintage look. All right, check out the link down below. And now let's get into the tune. Here we go. All right, y'all set? Well, we're going to start off with that nice, simple sort of back and forth, up and down strum. You can start to skip some of the up strums if you want to mix it up, give a little bit more accent punch to the down strum, you know, just to change up the sound a little bit. And as we go through, start to add yourself a few little embellishments that we talked about and push yourself a bit. I'm going to do some instrumental as well, so give you a chance to try that out too. All right, here we go. By the banks of the roses, me love and I sat down, and I took out my fiddle for to play me love a tune. And in the middle of the tune, now she sighed and she said, "Darling Johnny, lovely Johnny, would you leave me?" Well, when I was a young man, I heard my father say that he'd rather see me dead and buried in the plain sooner than be married to any runaway by the lovely sweet banks of the roses. By the banks of the roses, my love and I sat down, and I took out my fiddle for to play me love a tune. And in the middle of the tune, oh, she sighed and she said, "Darling Johnny, lovely Johnny, would you leave him?" Well, and I am no runaway, and soon I'll let them know that I can take the bottle oak and leave it alone. And if the daddy doesn't like it, he can keep his daughter at home, and young Johnny will go roving with another. By the banks of the roses, me love and I sat down, and I took out my fiddle for to play me love a tune. And in the middle of the tune, now she sighed and she said, "Darling Johnny, lovely Johnny, would you leave me?" Well, and when I get married, 'twill be in the month of May, when the leaves they are green and the meadows they are gay. Me and me true love will sit and sport and play by the lovely sweet banks of the roses. By the banks of the roses, me love and I sat down, and I took out my fiddle for to play me love a tune. And in the middle of the tune, oh, she sighed and she said, "Darling Johnny, lovely Johnny, would you leave me?" All right, folks, so stay tuned. I've got more Irish tunes put together that I'm going to be putting out before St. Patrick's Day. And this will be a theme that we're going to continue on the same way I've done with the bluegrass music on the banjo ukulele. I think this is a fabulous instrument for this kind of music. It really, really lends itself to the exact right sound that you want to have for it. Don't forget, to join us on our Facebook group, the Four String Strummers. Lots of nice folks from all over the world there that you can chit chat with. A lot of people putting up videos, which is really fun to see. Okay, and hit that subscribe button, folks. It really helps me out, and it shows me that you're appreciating the content that we are putting out. Okay, folks, till we see you next time, keep smiling, keep strumming, and have fun. Maybe with one of these videos right over here. Bye for now.